Hey,
All right, we're live.
we're live.
We're live. And we're going to talk about props and activities.
That's right. In this whole section, we're going to cover all the benefits and some of the definitions of what each prop and activity are. And let's start off by saying that every TLG song has an activity.
And that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
There is an activity for every song. And that's a good way to think about the songs.
Mm-hmm. Now, many of these activities use props. Props can be things like egg shakers, rhythm sticks, scarves, stretchy bands, etc.
But not every one.
That's right. Some of them don't involve props, and they focus more on hand movements or dancing moves or things like that.
In a given TLG class, you will do approximately 10 to 14 activities. I believe we set up 14 activities, but you don't always get all of them done, or you may choose not to get all of them done, depending on how you like to lead the class. But your classes are basically composed of activities. Some of them are consistent every class, like the Hello song and the Goodbye song.
That's right. There's always a lullaby at the end before the goodbye song.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to do instruments and scarf songs every class, depending, but yeah.
So you'd have that consistency if you tend to do instruments and scarves. Almost there will always be an egg song. There will always be generally always be a lap song,
Mm-hmm.
but it won't always be the actual. Well, I should say there will always be a lap activity,
Right.
or a stick activity or an egg activity,
Mm-hmm.
but it won't always be the same song.
That's right. That's right. So you can think of this section of props and activities as kind of being like the framework within which you can insert different songs at different times, but there's always going to be an egg song or a direction dance. It just might be a different song every week. So that's kind of, so we're going to focus on the broad overview of what each prop and activity is, and then as you go through each CD and the individual songs, those will serve as examples of each prop or activity.
Okay, we'll dive in, and just to let you know, there are, of all the activities and props we're talking about, there will be examples of this on the observations as well as on the website. You'll be able to click and link to examples where you'll see how these are actually done in class.
That's right.
Okay?
So let's get started. The first one on our list is the direction dance.
You want to give
It's
the
better
definition?
than the safety dance, I can promise you. Direction dances are basically stand-up songs. However, not every stand-up song is a direction dance. Direction dance, I'll just read the definition here. It's, the class does specific large body movements together, such as dancing, shaking, twisting, twirling, etc.
And then often the song will tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm.
A good direction dance will give oftentimes specific examples, and will also have a structure in it where things will kind of have a beginning and an end.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many great examples.
So let's do a couple of song examples just to get them in your head, or things like head, shoulders, knees, and toes. If you're happy and you know it, hokey pokey, ants go marching, etc.
When you say if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands, that is specific.
Mm-hmm. Specific direction, and everyone is doing it together, and that is the key of it being a direction dance, is that everyone is doing a move together as opposed to it being more of a free exploration time.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we go over some of the benefits? So developmental benefits and the benefits in class of a direction dance. Number one, it helps develop what we might call large motor skills, especially the kids in your class. Basically walking, balancing, movement, moving to music, things that occur when you're standing and moving intentionally.
That's right, and you can't take for granted that these young children are still learning to use their bodies in very basic ways. So by doing that to music, it's a great way for them to accelerate the process of learning how to use their bodies.
Even walking.
Even walking, etc. Number two, it helps develop a sense of rhythm, and you'll find that almost every one of these activities can help your sense of rhythm because we're always trying to move in rhythm, but we'll include it there. A lot of times the direction dances involve you moving in rhythm. Put your right hand in, put your right hand out. So I'm always doing it on the downbeat, or head, shoulders, knees, and toes. There's always a rhythmic aspect to the moves that we're doing.
And then the final benefit is that it really gets your class up and moving.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting, it's great big fun, and that's why there'll tend to be a few of these in every class. Of Quick question, Mike. What about something like a parachute? Can you use a prop and have a direction dance at the same time?
You can. That's a good question. That you so expertly led to me.
Transition.
Transition. That's right.
Segue.
Segue. That's the word. Yes. There you'll find there's a lot of overlap in many of these activities. So, for instance, direction dances don't have to stand alone. You can use props like egg shakers, parachutes, scarf, canopies, etc., along with your direction dances. So, for instance, with a big parachute, you might all be standing. You know, parachute has a circular shape, and we'll look at that later. Whole class holds onto an edge and walks in a circle, and they're all walking together with particular directions, and that's the key. So you'll find there's some overlap there.
Don't lose sleep over it. We tried to get it in nice, neat categories, but it overlaps, and it's all good.
That's right.
All right, a lap song. A basic definition of a lap song is the parent puts the child in their lap, and the song happens with the child in their lap. Why don't we talk about how that looks in class, and then go over all the benefits?
That sounds great. So in class, songs like 1, 2, 3, We, or Little Red Wagon, or Tickle Tickle. Child's in the lap, and hopefully in the teacher's lap as well. Right. And a lot of times you do things depending on the particular song. You'll bounce them up and down. You might lean them to the left, lean them to the right, rock back on your back with them. You might shake them, you might tickle them. And those are the typical activities that you do in a lap song.
The children may not always stay in their parents' lap. The really young ones may wander or get antsy, but most of them do stay in the lap.
Right, those are the ones who get sent to timeout.
No!
I'm just kidding. No, that's perfectly natural for kids to wander and explore.
They're in timeout, and they are allowed to move around, and that is perfectly okay. All right, so the benefits. For one thing, it's fantastic for balance. The children are on their parents' lap, so when they're moving to the left or to the right or even up and down, they're learning how to balance their bodies.
So another word for this is, every person has a vestibular system, which is what guides your sense of balance and your sense of where your body is compared to other things. So little things that we might take for granted, like that seem fun, they're hidden in the fun, like leaning them over and rocking it back and forth. To them, to the little children, they're experiencing that and gaining a greater understanding of how their body relates to gravity and relates to different positions.
What's another benefit?
Another benefit is bonding. Yeah. Lap songs are great for bonding. It can be bonding between parent and child, of course, or between teacher and child. And the reason why is because, of course, the close proximity. You're holding your child, you're doing something fun with them, and it's just a great chance to be close to children.
In class, another benefit of a lap song is really gathering everyone's attention. It tends to be one of the funnest activities you can do that also it works all the time. When the children are on their parents' lap, they love it. You've got the parents engaged. And I tend to use, like, if I feel like the class is getting a little sluggish or their concentration is wavering, I'll tend to go towards a lap song. Oh, could we let's just talk about that for a moment.
Sure.
We have the syllabus for them, and they may choose to alter it a little bit, but you have a plan when you go in there. But you can alter that plan based on the needs of the moment. And
That's
some
right.
of the needs of the moment might be, for example, I'm losing some of the attention or focus. What activity will refocus them? Well, lap songs are perfect for that.
That's right, because if the parents are getting chatty or if the kids are starting to wander, both of those lap song works because the parents have to be there with the kids and the kids have to be there with the parents. So there's no wandering and there's no chatting.
Let's do it. Let's move on.
Okay, yeah. Great. So next one is finger play.
Okay, this is a broader definition. Finger play is basically a lot of children's songs fall in this category, from where you do fine finger movements like the Itsy Bitsy Spider to even say, Strong Mama Said No, No, No. This is an arm motion. Finger plays tend to be seated. And they tend to be focused on your fingers, but also your arms, and it may involve some clapping, and it may involve some movement like this, but it's often seated. Now, once again, a lap song may have some finger play and stuff in it.
Good,
so,
yes.
you know, for all the OCD people, we're sorry.
That's right.
We're sorry.
Sometimes songs cross categories. So some song examples, like you said, was Strong Mama, Itsy Bitsy Spider, The Wheels on the Bus, you know, like that. Five Little Monkeys.
Acorn, small and brown.
That's right.
And that, Three Little Pigs. Though the story version, I don't know.
No, that's This Little Piggy.
I'm
This
thinking
Piggy.
of from my CD, but
I
that's on there too. What are some of the benefits of finger play? Well, definitely finger development, and
Right.
this is really, really important because the little ones in our class are really just starting to get control over their finger. Even things like holding a pencil is difficult. So that's going to be one of the benefits right off the bat.
And you notice some of the youngest kids in class they'll be just to be able to do something with their fingers is an accomplishment for them, whereas of course your 3 and 4-year-olds will be a lot more developed in that area. Another thing that helps is language skills. Well, a lot of these develop language skills, but a lot of times the finger plays involve taking ideas for different activities, like Wheels on the Bus. What else is on the bus? The wipers. So you're helping kids to develop their sense of what to call each thing that's on the bus. And it also just, you know, a lot of studies have shown that kids learn language or really learn anything better when movement is accompanied with it. So when they move their bodies, it helps them remember the actual verbal, the language, the words that go with it. And it's a great, it's a great benefit of finger play and as well as a lot of the other types of activities.
I think following directions, prediction. Because they're gonna start to predict which movements come next. So there's some cognitive activities that would be happening during finger play.
That's right.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Yeah. So, sing-alongs. Okay.
All right.
Now this is a sit-down song is a song that has no activity or prop other than singing and keeping a beat. So that's what we've decided to call a sing-along. Some examples are like Old MacDonald. So when you sing Old MacDonald, you're just, Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. And what we do in these types of songs is we just have the class keep a beat, nice and simple. And once again, we're showing them rhythm. But there's no other prop and there's no movements that change through the verse. They're just keeping a beat and singing. And then that way, for instance, in Old MacDonald, the kids can start to focus on different animals without being distracted by too many other movements.
You know, interestingly, you would think for sure that if you played an instrument, this is the time you'd want to do it. And yes, that's true. But also helping them keep the rhythm like that tends to really help the song and really help the energy of the song. So sometimes even if you play an instrument, you'll have to kind of learn how to get them started with that rhythm, and also play your instrument and keep that rhythm going. And it's in the observations you'll see some of that occur.
Exactly. Like for instance, I play guitar and so do you. Yeah. I've found that if I play Old MacDonald's on the guitar and I tell everybody to do this, they may or may not do this, but if I don't play guitar and I do this, they'll all keep it going. So of course then you develop the skill to get everybody doing this and to find a way to keep them doing that while you play guitar. So that's just something to keep in mind if you want to play something like a guitar or a keyboard or something during class.
And it's okay if they're not, I mean, when you have an instrument, you fill up the sound. One of the reasons we do this is not only to keep the beat, but it has more energy to it. When it's Old MacDonald had a farm, it's not as exciting as Old MacDonald had a farm.
Right.
So when you do your sing-alongs, you know, I think the primary goal is familiar. Well, there's so many. Let's talk. So these are the benefits of some of the goals. One is learning melody. So, you know, you would want as much as possible to model the correct melody and encourage them to sing the correct melody with you. So one of the things you're learning in a sing-along is melody.
Right, and of course, every song we do, the kids are learning melody, but in this case, because we strip away any other activities or props and we're just keeping a beat, it allows the children and the parents to focus more on the melody without distraction. And same thing with rhythm. Another benefit is it helps them keep rhythm. I mean, just keeping a quarter note pulse is something that young children haven't developed yet. So by just the
A
repetition
lot
and
of adult
repetition,
children too.
that's true. But the repetition and repetition is something that really gradually gets them to get it.
And it's fun to watch them get it. It's fun to watch them get that rhythm, and you can see when they get it, there's a certain delight that opens up, and it's really, really cool.
It's true, and you're going to notice like 0 and 1 year olds are going to be the ones who even do it at all. They're going to not be necessarily in rhythm, but it's really great that they're doing it at all. And then as they start getting to be in their 2s, 3s, and definitely 4s, you'll notice them gradually getting more on. So that's something to help you assess whether your class is doing a good job or not.
Cultural awareness might be a benefit because these tend to be, you tend to focus on the song, and a lot of these are traditional children's songs, so they may be from other countries, or even just awareness of our own traditional songs. We, in the learning group, half the songs are traditionals, and one of the reasons for that is because, you know, we think original music is great and creative, but we want to make sure that the traditional ones are there
carried on through generation and generation.
So, I mean, all the examples we have of sing-alongs, these are all traditional songs.
That's right. Down by the Bay, I Had a Little Rooster, things like that, Old MacDonald. So, yeah, so you'll find that basically this helps you focus on things without the distraction of props. Another thing it helps is language building, just like every activity really, but once again, you're stripping away the distractions. So when you try to think of a different animal, you try to think of a different thing on the bus, well, that's the finger plays, but still, it's you know, you're without the distractions. They're getting to focus on that.
Mike, I've noticed in your classes that you often like to go right from the sing-alongs into the tonal patterns.
That's another good point. Very good point. Sing-alongs are great for going into tonal and rhythm patterns, and there are a few good reasons why. The main reason why is that you don't have any props to put away in between.
Right.
So it's nice. Generally, you want to connect your tonal or rhythm patterns to a song, so you want to follow immediately after a song without a break. That way, the children can associate the key that you're in or the rhythm that you're continuing from that song. And so, you know, it's great that you don't have to put anything away, so you can go straight into it.
It makes a nice connection between the rhythm pattern that you choose and the song that was just finished.
Exactly. So that's another benefit of the use in class of sing-alongs.
I would say one of the final benefits is the building of community. Singing together is a wonderful thing to do, and when people sing together, they bond, and you know, like around the campfire or in the car, whatever it may be. It was just a completely different experience than listening to the radio or whatever. So that's happening in these sing-alongs as well.
So maybe we'll move on to
what do we got?
egg songs.
Ooh, now there'll be an egg song almost every class.
That's right. We try to schedule it every class. Definition is a song that uses egg shakers.
Do we want to show them the eggs?
Sure, we brought them with us today.
We know what an egg looks like, but we brought them.
Yeah, I forgot to take them out, but here we go. Do you like an egg shaker, Mr. Eric?
Oh, I would love one. Thank you. Yay!
Is this impressive or what?
Yeah.
All right. So egg shakers. Now they can be sit-down songs or stand-up songs. We tend to put on every CD that we have about 2 sit-down songs with eggs and 1 stand-up song with eggs. And once again, a stand-up song with eggs is also a direction dance. Just uses eggs. So that's the definition of it. You want to talk about the benefits?
I would, but just to mention, like in class, the use of it. One thing that they can look for in some of your videos, and hopefully mine as well, is actually leading stand-up songs and shaking your egg is a lot harder than it looks.
And staying in rhythm.
And staying in rhythm. It's surprising that you would think something like, you know, keeping an egg in rhythm, but once you start keeping the rhythm and walking and giving directions, it actually requires practice. And we're both laughing because we won't share with you all the times we've lost the rhythm or we're completely off, and that's fine. So, but that is something that you may want to practice. You know, walk around the house, keeping a rhythm, and bossing people around. And, so the eggs are really fun. There are so many benefits. The most obvious one, of course, is learning a rhythm. Learning to keep a rhythm. Now, eggs have the ability to do microbeats as well, but we tend to focus on the macro, which means the 1, 2, 3. Or you do the micros.
I do all the
1,
micros,
2,
but
and 3.
I guess it depends on the song and the tempo too, because some faster songs you might only do half the beat, some slower songs you do more in between. But let's see, some of our examples, like This Little Light of Mine, just as this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine.
Now, they may not do the micros.
Right.
It might be this little light of mine. Oh, but you can model this little light of mine.
Right.
I'm gonna let it shine. It depends on how old they are and what they're trying to achieve.
Of course, the youngest kids are just going to be lucky to be holding it. And I mean, the great thing about these egg shakers is they have neat sound, so it's very appealing to kids. So it's a lot more interesting than just clapping your hands. So, but yeah, that's true. I tend to do 1E and a 2E and a 3E and so I'm doing major micro beats there. I'm doing 16th notes, whereas even if someone, I'm still accenting the quarter note though. 1E and the 2E and it might be for a child or for most parents just 1, 2, 3.
And that's probably what they're focusing on.
Right. Exactly.
And when you count with them, you don't say 1E and a 2E.
No,
you say a 1, 2,
right.
3, 4. So you got the micro beats in there, but you're really emphasizing the 1, 2, 3, 4.
Exactly.
This is great for gripping, and now another thing which is cool that I'm going to start doing more of, and in our observations you don't see it because we've actually just become aware of its importance, is doing it in both hands.
Right.
So, and this we learned from Dave Crossner, and what he explained to us, which makes absolute sense, is that you've got your left and right brain, and when you do things with both hands, you're actually building bridges for how the right and left side of the brain communicate with each other.
That's right. So what that means, like your artistic side and your logical side are able to connect. And also in terms of being right-handed or left-handed, the child will have more of a chance of being more ambidextrous if you, from an early age, if they learn to use both hands equally. So these things all help.
You've used like 2 5-syllable words so far.
Ambidextrous means using both hands together. What else did I say?
It started with a V. Having to do with movement on the lap.
I don't remember what I said.
Okay, well, it was a big word.
It was a big word?
Yeah, it was a big word.
Good. I've practiced, speaking
good
for many years.
I really showed at that time. What are some of the other benefits in class?
Also, just as an overview, as a tendency rather, our stand-up egg songs tend to be riding on a train and going to places. Yeah. That's just a pattern we've kind of just developed. Right. So the children are deciding where to go for the next verse. Now we're going to go to the zoo. Whatever the song is, freight train, going to the zoo, etc. And you'll see more examples as you go through each song. But the sit-down songs tend to be focused on body parts. Not everyone, but so you might have this little line of mine, say, way down in my knee, I'm gonna let it shine. Way down in my knee, I'm gonna let it shine. You say, way up in my head, I'm gonna let it shine. So different body part for each verse.
It could be symbolic, like put a chicken on your head.
Right.
But then the next verse, put a chicken on your toe.
Mm-hmm.
And the children are encouraged to give input on this. So another benefit in class is the children learning to contribute to a class, to give input. And once again, now they're thinking, they're making a connection between the words of the song, parts of their body, as well as being part of a group where you're asked to give input. What else we got? That's a lot.
That's a lot. I think that's good for egg songs. So bye-bye to the eggs.
When you bring eggs out,
oh yeah,
it's really exciting. I shake them in the box. It's when you bring a prop out, it's like, oh man, yeah, and they get very excited about it. It's a big deal. When you put them away, I like to recommend that the putting away becomes a learning moment and a moment of bonding and community building. So what I like to do is say, when all the children put it away, we're going to say their names and clap for them. And they'll go and put it away and you clap for them. And we won't go into it here because we talk extensively about this in other places, but that is a really big deal for these children to actually give up something that they've possessed because they think it's theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, they're kind of like giving that back to you. It's a learning experience for them.
That's true, and I'm glad you brought that up because that reminds me. Some of these activities have typical speeches, and just the first week of class, maybe the first 2 weeks of class, if I have more new students, when I pass out the eggs, before I dump them out and all pandemonium breaks loose and people getting their eggs, I'll say, by the way, I've started doing this. Sometimes I would say, it's very common for kids to put things in their mouths, but the way we keep everything clean is for parents to watch their children and gather anything they put in their mouths at the end and wipe it off with our wipes. But lately I started doing this. I said, what's the number one thing that kids like to do with egg shakers? And sure enough, I'll say, put them in their mouths. Right. I say, that's perfectly okay, but the way we keep it clean is to parents, it's your responsibility to wipe off any eggs before they're put away.
And that's an interactive technique, a question and answer. Rather than simply say something, you make it a question, and that's a form of interactive teaching that engages the parents.
That's right, with a little bit of humor sprinkled in. Never hurts.
Never hurts. How many eggs will the teachers need each?
Okay, when you're ordering your eggs, I recommend 30, and that's what's on our order list. Now, if you have a full class of, let's say, 12 to 14 kids plus their parents, that's enough for each of them to have one. Of course, now we're starting to think that maybe you should have 2.
Which would be twice as many eggs.
Right, so that's a lot of eggs. So you can always start off, if you're starting up new classes, you can order a certain number and then gradually order more as your classes fill up if your budget is constrained.
Don't let that scramble your mind.
How would that happen? My mind's just scrambled from that.
I'm making egg jokes. Scrambled eggs.
Oh!
All right.
God, I'm too bald. This went right over my head. All right.
That was the best egg joke I had. But it's good to do egg jokes in class. Not as bad as mine, but they're really fun. They seem to bring out a lot of humor.
I actually was doing chocolate pie, which is on the Outrageous Orange CD today, and I said, and of course, the number one ingredient in chocolate pie is eggs. So let's all get our eggs. All right, let's move on to rhythm sticks and leave behind our bad jokes.
Okay. and we apologize. And we apologize for future bad jokes that are coming. Rhythm sticks, the definition is a song activity that uses rhythm sticks. Well, I'm sure that was helpful for you. And the rhythm sticks, these are the 8-inch rhythm sticks, and we suggest these. They're the ones that are on the order form. We both used the bigger ones before and really find that these just work better for children. They're easier. They sound just as good.
Yeah, these are great. And these, like you said, they're 8-inch. When you refer to the longer ones, there are some 12-inch ones that I've seen a lot of music classes use. And I used to use those, and I found I like these better. Plus, these are from Basic Beat, the ones that we recommend. They're natural wood too, so you're not going to get paint chipping off either on things or in kids' mouths. So I just like that better.
Oh, and when let's talk about at the end of this how you clean these up if they do go in their mouths, and then that is so for the eggs as well. How the parents will just take them and use the alcohol wipes or whatever.
Right. Should we talk about it right now?
Okay, we might as well. If the children put any instrument in their mouth, the first thing is it is good for the parents to take it out of their mouth. But then, either at that moment or put it aside and do it after the song. It's better to put it aside and do it after the song.
Typically, you want to keep everybody engaged during the song. And,
so just give them another stick or another egg. After the song, they'll go to the table where you have your cleaning materials, which probably will be an alcohol wipe or something similar to that, and they just clean them off.
Right. So, and you have to make sure that the parents know it's their responsibility. They're all pretty used to this. I'm not surprised by this, but just the beginning or some of the first class or two, just make sure that they know that the parents should watch their children at the end of a song. Just point out the wipes and say, just go over and wipe off the instruments, then put them back in with the rest, and that's how we keep it clean for the next class. And that's what we do.
Generally, there's one stick song per class, and they're really loved by the children. This is an exciting time for them, and there's a whole lot of benefits. Some of them will be similar to other benefits. So the first one that I think I'll just bring up is the benefit of rhythm. Just keeping that beat. The choice of doing, we generally tend to focus on the one, like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, as opposed to 1 and 2 and 3. But there are occasions to do the and as well, such as a blues song or something like that.
Right, right.
It's hard for them to keep the rhythm. It's a definite skill. They've got to grip it, keep the beat, and that's one of the primary objectives of using sticks.
That's right. And you'll notice that most stick songs tend to have a list of things that we do, so I'll just kind of run through those real quickly. So one of them, of course, is clicking, which is great for rhythm. You can also just either drum on the ground or tap on the ground. Run helps them. Now, a lot of these things, once again, we talked about using two hands in terms of brain development, and this is another example of going left, right, for running or walking. You can do an airplane, which is always fun. They just love this one. You just...
Can you put an example of a song?
Yeah. So let's see. This Old Man is a good stick song. So this old man, he played one. He played knick-knack on my drum with a knick-knack. Patty whack give dog bone. This old man came rolling home. And at the end of the song, we just go into la, la, la. And then we'll do something like this. We'll do run, run, run. Run, run, run. Run, 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 which then evolves into things like airplane, which could be fly, 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 etc.
And if you were to take a song like Skip to My Lou, it would be, ski, ski, ski to my Lou, ski, ski, ski to my Lou.
That's new. We haven't thought of that one before. You just came up with
that
on the top of your head. Speaking of top of your head, we can do bunny rabbit ears and go hop, 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 hop. There's a lot of things you can do, and you can take suggestions too. A lot of times the kids will come up with things you never thought of. But as you go through the song activity videos, you'll see some more examples of the things you can do with rhythm sticks. And so all of those are helping rhythm, and of course they're helping their motor coordination and learning how to manipulate things with their hands, which once again at this young age, like doing this is very challenging for young children, so some of them might just do this, but they enjoy the challenge. They all love it. Doing this is a challenge.
It is creative for them to come up with a movement to go with the activity. Mm-hmm. So whatever the activity might be, you mentioned many of them, and then there'll be ones that come from their imagination, and then they'll try and think of one. And that is a form of imagination building, creativity.
That's right. And as I said, things like run, or if you do left and right, and that is helping to develop the hemispheres of the brain a little bit more, because it's that left and right movement that really is helping that.
There'll be the cool transitional stuff, like making exciting when you bring it out. You can shake the box.
Like so.
Putting away, again, a good opportunity for everybody in the community to cheer for the child as they put it away. There'll be examples of the sticks warm-up.
Right, stick warm-up is now you can do a warm-up for any activity. We just tend to do sticks as the main one. But I always say something like, it's silly time, or first day of class, I like to always say, one thing we take very seriously at the Learning Groove is being as silly as possible. And you watch everybody go from like, oh, to like, oh. And it's kind of fun. So,
and there's examples of you doing it on the observation.
There are, so you can probably just watch those. I won't do them now. You basically just be silly, and you do some funny things, getting everybody laughing, or you do the achoo, sneeze type stuff.
One of the reasons why we're mentioning all these benefits, to place it in context, fun is important, but this is more than fun. This is balance, this is coordinating right and left hemisphere, this is keeping rhythm, this is developing creativity. You want to mention that in class.
That's right. With all of these things, the reason we're giving you such a detailed list of these benefits is that so you can understand it and relate that to the parents, because while the parents might be having fun, it's really important that they understand that their child is really learning as well. So it's not just fun. This is really good for the people they love the most, their children.
And it's like a 90-10 mix.
Right.
Like 90% have fun, have a great time, but also make sure that you are communicating that the educational benefits, it's important for them to know this. And it will help you with re-enrollment and things like that.
That's right. Oh, another important thing for sticks, before I pass them out, every single time I pass these out, as I'm holding the box, I say, now remember, rhythm sticks have rules. We want to make sure our children stay seated on the floor, and if they want to walk around, you just take their sticks away temporarily. It's a quick little blurb, but it just makes it very clear to the parents that the children need to be seated, and it's for safety issues, of course. You don't want the kids to be falling over, like if they're sucking on something and they fall forward. Well, you can imagine the rest. You don't want them whapping kids on the head. So we've never seen this happen or heard of it happening. Just being extra cautious because they are sticks and it's possible that kids get hurt.
It's important to give that little speech because every other activity we give the opposite speech. Every other activity, it's no matter anything they do is okay. You know, this is the one exception, and because it's the one exception, it's fair to remind them this is the one exception to the general policy.
Right. I literally do it every single time I pass out sticks. I've been doing it for 10 years. So
I do it every time for about the first 6 classes generally, but it will depend on the parents and whether I think they got it or if I have new folks in there.
Right, a lot of times, because I almost always have new tryout students, so that's why I tend to repeat it again.
Sounds good.
Awesome. I love it. All right. They want to move on to stretchy band.
Stretchy band. We got a stretchy band. These are so fun. Now, a stretchy band it can be a lap song. Now, I tend to do it as a lap song, but I just recently found out that not everybody does. But I tend to ask the children to sit in the adult's lap and to hold it together. But you don't have to. It is generally a sit-down song.
So you can imagine, and we're not going to be able to do this right here.
I'm going to stretch here just to... Well, they see it, so you want it nice and taut like that in a circle, but you'll see it in the observation video.
It's basically a gigantic scrunchie like for your hair. Sometimes I make that joke in class. We're teaching the kids how to work with scrunchies, you know.
Good.
But,
that's a good skill.
But some of the benefits of stretchy bands, obviously rhythm, because everyone's holding on and everyone's keeping the same rhythm. Songs like Alice the Camel is an example. Alice the Camel has 5 humps. Might as well do it. We got it right here. Okay. Alice the Camel has 5 humps. Alice the Camel has 5 humps. Alice. So notice when I got off on purpose.
Oh yeah, it's hard, and as the leader, keeping the rhythm will be difficult because they'll be all over the place.
Right, so kids are going to be all over the place, but by all the parents keeping a rhythm, the kids, whenever they get off, they just gently massage back into shape so that they start to gradually learn to keep with the rhythm with their bodies.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest, benefit of
is rhythm. There can be bonding between the child and the parent because oftentimes in the stretcher you lean back.
Yes, almost every time.
So in that case,
it's good to have
if the child is in your lap, they go back with you, and it's kind of thrilling and exciting.
Right.
The teacher can say, "I've got a free lap," and if a child comes up and is with you for that song, then you really bond with that child, and it's a lot of fun.
Exactly. So an example of leaning back is Alice Camel's 5 humps, go, Alice, go, whoa! And everybody in class leans back, but the tautness of the stretchy band can help them pull themselves back up. So it's really fun.
I would say this is one of the favorite activities. I mean,
yeah, I think so.
It's just big fun. Singing together is another part of stretchy band songs because generally you all sing together. In fact, I can't think of any examples where we
don't sing together. Yeah, pretty much every activity you're singing together unless it's a call and response, but even then everybody's responding together, things like that.
So all the benefits of the sing-alongs are here as well.
Once again, a lot of overlap. So I think that's good for stretchy band. Any more further comments?
No.
All right, let's move on to parachute or scarf canopy. Now we put these in the same category because they.
One more thing.
You can.
Just that. It's got the colors.
Oh yeah.
And you really want to take advantage of the, talking about the red, the colors, the green, the red, and the blue and the orange.
True.
So you had segued nicely.
Yeah.
Into it, but I hope
it's all lost now.
Stretch back.
Stretch
back into the.
To piggyback on that, sometimes I'll actually, not all the time, but I'll actually take a moment in class when we have the stretchy band and says, "Ooh, what colors do you have?" And I'll go to each child or just whoever wants to volunteer. It's like, "Oh, so and so has orange. Oh, and you have green." Mm-hmm. That way they're starting to learn their colors.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's great. Okay, shall we re-segue into parachute or scarf canopy?
Let's re-seg.
That was the manual crossfade. Okay, so we are now in parachute or scarf canopy, and
they're both fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They're both kind of do the same things. Let's just define them and then talk about the differences between the two props?
Sure. A parachute is a lot.
Yeah, these are really lame definitions that we wrote. A song activity that uses a parachute or a scarf.
Well, that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the definitions we gave, a lot of times were just to distinguish from the other activity.
Right.
Pretty straightforward.
Right.
Nothing too complicated about it. But parachute is gigantic. It's about a 12-foot diameter, I think, that we recommend on our list. Same thing.
But it is on the list.
And basically, it's a big, gigantic circle of cloth and made of parachute material. And the class holds on around the edges. And usually what you do is some kind of direction dance together where you all walk in a circle one direction, you all walk the other direction, you go into the center and back out. You might shake it up and down.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. Kids really like to, of course they all can hold on to the outsides, but they can also go underneath, which is really fun, because then they're in this little wonderland with this colorful this colorful parachute over them, while the parents are moving it around and manipulating it.
We have that one photo of the kids underneath the parachute that's on a lot of our publicity material. And it shows the excitement that they experience under there. And then if you're going up and down and it kind of comes down on them, it's
on their heads,
it's a big thrill. When you use the parachute, it tends to be one of the kind of highlights of the class, like in terms of the most energy and the building up of excitement.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Now, one thing to keep in mind, most parents are smart enough to pay attention, but because it's a solid material and you're covering the whole span of the classroom, you have to just make sure, maybe give a quick announcement beforehand. Now, parents, make sure you watch your feet so you don't step on any of your kids, because it is possible. I've never seen anybody get hurt, but I have had a couple of kids get knocked down just from some legs, but they were fine.
These tend to be stand-up songs, right? These tend to be direction dances.
Mm-hmm.
So we won't go over all the benefits of direction dances since we've already done that.
Mm-hmm.
I think more so the benefits of these props. Now this can be used also for sit-downs, and this is really cool.
Yes,
this is a scarf canopy.
Scarf canopy, my dilapidated cover here.
They're kind of different. Like
it's basically a gigantic scarf.
So it's see-through. And because it's see-through, when the kids go underneath it, you see them.
Right, it's a little safer that way because you're less likely to trip over a child when you can see through the material.
I use this often when they're sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. It looks like water, so they'll go underneath it and pretend to be water. Things like wade in the water and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. But this is a really fun one too. You could use it just in the same way as a parachute. It's just a little bit safer. It's also a little cheaper if you're on a budget, but really they're both a lot of fun.
They're both a lot of fun, and it creates a lot of variation.
Mm-hmm.
And they have slightly different
pros and cons.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like you want one or the other. If possible, get both.
Yeah, I recommend both totally.
So in terms of the developmental benefits, why don't we just stick, since we went over so many similar, but holding.
Yeah, grasping. Motor skills. Rhythm, of course. A lot of times when you're walking around, you're walking in rhythm and you're shaking it up and down together. What else?
Community building, especially when they're all under there together, cooperative, because there's a bunch of them under there.
Right.
Got to share space and play together.
And of course, people holding onto the edges have to cooperate, because if someone tries to go in while everybody else is going around, then you don't have a fluid thing. So everyone has to act together in both the scarf canopy, the parachute, and actually going back to the stretchy band as well. Everybody has to kind of work together, or else it doesn't work.
Which is a big part of these classes. They're learning how to socialize, how to be ready for preschool, how to work together in a group, which is really important.
That's right. Okay, so maybe we'll move on to story songs. That's your specialty.
That's my favorite. Well, of course, I'm a musical author, and I'm the author of Pete the Cat, which is a best-selling book. I love my white shoes. And one of the things that we're very interested in the learning group is literacy, and the use of music in helping promote literacy. And we spoke a while with Dave Krosner. I don't know if it got on video or not, about the direct connection between learning music skills, such as sequencing, the sequencing of words and songs, the sequencing of notes. Sequencing is then used in language.
Right, a lot of the same.
Yeah,
exactly. A lot of the same brain building components work with music and language, which is why these music classes can help them with their language. And you can see more in the early learning music theory section of this website.
It's particularly interesting. So every CD we try to have some type of story song. And the examples of this are Little Bunny Foo Foo, Going on a Bear Hunt, Pete the Cat, I Love My White Shoes. I don't think it's officially on the CD.
Right, it's not on our CDs, but it's a good example.
But it's
of
good
one.
to get the book and use it in class. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're fantastic. They're fun. It tends to be a highlight, and you really want to be dramatic when you do it. You know, you really want to turn it on and turn it up. Exaggeration is fantastic. You're basically becoming an animated storyteller.
Right. A lot of in the teaching skills sections, these story songs are going to be a great opportunity to really like take all of those to the max. Say you want to talk quietly, but then get really loud and slow down, and then speed up, and you want to just really use a lot of those dynamics to keep people's attention in the story. And all of our story songs have songs sprinkled throughout choruses that happen.
Tell them yourself. I mean, I know there's recordings of us telling them. And they're fun recordings, and it might be tempting to play those recordings, because they're done well. But tell them yourself.
Tell them yourself.
And it's a wonderful telling stories to children is a wonderful moment to bond with them. It's a fantastic linguistic experience, which is different than a linguini experience. And not that one's better than the other, but it's just an amazing opportunity to share language and to blend it into music. Okay, so some of the benefits: language acquisition,
right? Fine and small body movement skills. If it also is a finger play, a lot of these
will
can
be
overlap.
Every time. Right? We have none that aren't finger plays.
That's probably a good point. I'm not sure if that's true, but I think you're right. Yeah, most of our story songs, or maybe all of them, involve some type of finger play activity.
It will also prediction, repetition, things like what will come next. Songs do this, but particularly stories, children tend to figure out what's about to happen.
Right.
And that's a very important skill for them to develop.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's fun.
It is fun. Yes, they're very fun.
All right, what do we got?
On to tonal rhythm patterns. We're just going to briefly
and there's going
touch
to be
on
a
here.
whole other section on that.
Right, there's already on the website, there's a whole other section on tonal rhythm patterns, but they also function as an activity in class, which is why we included it in this list. Definition is a call and response activity that allows the class and or individual children to practice singing specific melodies and rhythms. So I don't think we need to go into this really at all right here because
there's an entire section on this, and I think Dave covered it as well.
Exactly. So there's just a few songs that we actually made specifically as tonal rhythm patterns, and those are things like The Beat Bus, Lucy Rabbit, Baby Blue has tonal pattern call and response. La 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 la.
Mike, maybe we'll talk about it just specifically in terms of how you do it in class, not because in the other section it's more about what tonal patterns to do and everything. But
we'll talk about how to use them in class as well.
Okay, then we don't need to go over it so much.
Yeah, you get a break from this one right now.
You're so lucky.
So that'll move us on to puppets.
Okay.
I have several puppets here. Let me get them out.
No, these the ones you carry around with you in day-to-day life, or are these the ones just for class?
I curl up with them in my bed. I play act with them in my spare time.
Okay. I'm sorry I brought it up.
So here's I call this one Melody Moo, but you can come up with your own title. Really cute cow puppet. This one is Chicken Silly Socks, which I use as the funky chicken, or just as a chicken, but it's really fun. He's going bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, 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 bark. So these puppets can be great to use for tonal and rhythm patterns. Because chickens can say bok, that's great for rhythm. Moo is a great sound for tonal patterns, like moo, moo, moo. Moo, 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 etc. I got this little lamb, which can be used also for either rhythm or tonal patterns. I don't like this one quite as much, but it kind of works. So you can say ba ba ba, ba ba ba, or you do ba 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 for a rhythm pattern.
Ba 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 ba.
So these are fun. They all fit on your hand. And for individual tonal or rhythm patterns, kids love to come up and you say, hey, who wants to come and sing with me and whatever you're calling your puppet, and that way. And I always say, would you like to pet the puppet too? Or I don't say puppet. Would you like to pet the lamb? And the kids love to do that. So it's just a really extra fun spice that you can add to your classes. And we don't put them necessarily on the syllabus as puppets, but it's great to sprinkle these in for tonal and rhythm patterns.
And you tend to use it for tonal and rhythm patterns.
I tend to. I think you could also do like Mary Had a Little Lamb. You could use your lamb puppet, like instead of doing the traditional activity that we prescribed. And I think this is in the description of what's possible. You could also just like sing the song with the lamb and just go visit each child with it. So it's a lot of fun. All right. And developmental benefits.
Well, a puppet is. I mean, it's an aid to another activity.
Mm-hmm.
So developmental benefits would really be based on the songs that they're doing, right?
Exactly.
Or the other activities that go with it.
Right. So it's just so it basically just fits in with that.
To engage, I guess it's to engage children, to capture their interest.
Mm-hmm. It just adds more fun and excitement to the other activities you're already doing. So next is wrist bells, which honestly we don't use wrist bells very much as an independent activity.
They're kind of an alternative.
It's an alternative to egg shakers, perhaps. Like you can just hold them and shake them if you want.
Or they put them on their wrists, which is fun.
Yeah. I have even kids putting them on their ankles, which is really cute. So
and then when they dance around with them, it makes sounds.
Yeah, so they're not as precise as something like an egg shaker because it's just jingling around. You can't really keep a very clear rhythm. It's a little more sporadic.
I tend to use them more for the discovery times, like the jams and the free dances and stuff, and it's fun for them to put it on their bodies. They can shake it like this, or they do love to Velcro it to their arms and legs and dance around.
Yeah, and I include it in my instrument collection, so when I dump out the instruments, which we'll get to soon, this is just some of the instruments that are available for them to work with, and some of them immediately go and put them on and then start shaking other instruments while they're doing that. But it's a nice little extra spice. It is a nice way to also fill out your instrument collection at a lower cost as well.
They're pretty inexpensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, sounds groovy.
Let's see.
All right.
Yay, Mr. Eric!
Thank you.
That's an example of cheering when somebody puts things away.
Feels much better.
So balls. Okay, so I didn't bring my balls. My
bad jokes.
All right, so I was trying to be not funny there, but it's impossible.
What can you do? It's impossible.
We're two guys who started a company. All right, so ball time. That works better.
It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
It's very simple. It's basically you put on a song. Most of our CDs have a specific song that refers to balls.
We're not gonna get through this. Let's just skip it.
Basically, you just roll it back and forth in rhythm. You dump out a bunch of balls. Are you gonna laugh now?
No.
Okay.
I'm the serious one.
Oh right, I believe you. Okay, and it's just fun time. It's part of the free exploration time as opposed to the structured activity time, which means that not everybody in class is doing the same thing at the same time. Everybody's just having fun on their own, rolling balls between parent and child, or between child and child, between teacher and child. And it's just a lot of fun for one thing. The kids love it.
They love it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's great for their motor coordination, of course, because they're learning how to roll the ball, and how to hold the ball is, challenging for the youngest kids. And if you can get them, I always try to say, all right, we're going to roll some balls. You can just have some fun, but if you like to try something extra special, you can try rolling the ball in rhythm with your child. And that way, red ball, yellow ball, roll that rolling ball. Everybody say. So if you can try to roll it with the child in rhythm, and I try to sometimes encourage that with certain children while I roll with them.
It's a good opportunity for the teacher to go around to every student.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the benefits of this is bonding with your students.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really big deal when you do it. For whatever reason, it tends to have a big impact.
Yeah.
It's very exciting, and I mean it tends to be one of kind of the big moments. These songs tend to be the exploratory time, whereas in the teaching skills section, we talk about discovery learning versus structured learning, whereas we recommend, or modeling learning where you are providing examples and giving instruction is very good, and 70% of the learning. About 30% of the time in class should be what's called discovery learning, where you're just kind of try this, try that, and this is one of those times.
Exactly, and it's great to do like in the first couple of weeks of class, for instance, and of course, the syllabus already includes it in there. But when you have a new class and you have new children, they usually haven't warmed up to you yet as the teacher, and nor to anyone else in the class.
Yeah.
But something like balls with many different colors, their inhibitions seem to melt away. It's pretty magical.
I wonder why that is.
I don't know.
There's something about that activity.
I think they just consider it fun, and they just associate it with all the fun they've had, so they let go of some of their fears, and so they'll interact with children more, and they'll be much more likely to interact with you. Yeah. And I've seen huge differences between, like, if I do tonal patterns for the first day of class, only a couple of kids might come to my lap, and the ones who I go to are kind of like shy and hiding with their mom. They don't really want to do it. Then we do a ball song, and then I might do rhythm patterns after that, and they're like totally different. They're more open to me, and they're more willing to come to my lap. So it really warms them up.
It's you have a choice between using the song that we put on the CD specifically for it, and it will mention balls. So it'll be like red ball, yellow ball, whatever. I've forgotten the whole words that I wrote, but it's a specific song for the activity. Or you can put your favorite song on. Mm-hmm. So I love rockabilly. I love old Elvis. This is a great time for Motown. Put on some ABBA, whatever you want. Mm-hmm. It's a time for a big fun song, and that kind of pumps up the energy a little bit as well.
That's right. And the next two activities we're going to talk about are scarves and instruments.
Pretty simple.
And these are all we don't have to go to them yet, but these are all examples of teacher's choice songs where you can bring in your own songs to play in class. We don't prescribe any specific songs. And
they're all example of discovery learning too. We're kind of moving into the discovery learning section.
That's right. So now as a teacher, it's up to you to find good ones. We're going to give some examples of songs that you might want to purchase or download. The key to these songs is that they have a good beat that the kids can either dance to or roll balls to or whatever you like. But you can also get experimental with it. You can try some classical pieces for scarves, or you can try some things. For instruments, you definitely want a clear rhythm in the music. But so just come up with your own playlist of some of your favorite songs that you want to go to, whether it's in your iPod or whether it's you put it on a CD. It's definitely it's a fun chance for you to express yourself as a teacher, to show music that you like.
And that's important for them to see that. Mm-hmm. Like if you put on a song you really enjoy, maybe it's something they've never heard before.
That's right.
Or it's something that shows a little bit about you. Mm-hmm. So have a good time with that one. Scarves are very similar to the ball songs, except that it really lends itself to movement and dancing. Once again, this is discovery learning, so we're not going to give them specific directions on what to do. Rather, a general direction, such as the whole room is available for you to dance. Just move your scarves to the beautiful rhythm, or move your songs to the beautiful song, or have some fun. And then you allow them to do it.
Just to clarify, we're not talking about the scarves you wrap around your neck in winter. We're talking about these specific ones. They come in different sizes. We recommended these, which I think are about, I don't know if these are 16 or 21 inches in length, but it's on our order form, whatever it is. And notice that they're see-through, which is really nice. There's a bunch of things you can do with scarves. As discovery learning, of course, I just get everybody, let's all get up and dance. And so you really want to get those parents off their butts and dancing. Did I say that?
No.
And we already said balls, so we're going downhill fast.
Going downhill fast.
Anyway, so a lot of times when I pass out the scarves, I'll say, now you can just dance and have fun, but one thing that's nice to do during this time is if you see your child doing certain moves, it's nice to emulate them to encourage their creativity. Yeah. So this is a great chance for bonding. You want to go around to each child as well.
Yeah.
So once again, bonding is very, you can get a lot of bonding time in here.
And you're going to the parents also. It's interesting because some of the parents are just immediately going to start dancing with their children, and others are going to have to face their social inhibitions. So, and some children will have to face their social inhibitions, and you are there to model not being socially inhibited, which is not always easy to do if you are socially inhibited. So, but when you're working, when you're teaching, you're not.
So you want to, you really want to just be dancing enthusiastically, but lovingly, not too crazy. You don't want to be scaring people around you or knocking into people. But another thing that's really common with scarves is,
right, they like.
Where's Mr. Eric?
You know,
where's Mr.
And then
Eric?
when you move it,
peekaboo, or there they
So,
are.
you can use scarves to tuck the children in. They like to pretend they're sleeping.
Oh yeah, this ties into lullabies.
Lullabies.
A lot of times I'll do scarf. We usually have scarves followed by instruments followed by sleepy time, but sometimes I'll switch it up, do instruments, then scarves, and then after scarf time,
Take the scarf
I'll say, let's all everybody keep your scarves. We're not going to put them away, but everybody make some beds for yourself, some beds and blankets, and it's really cute to have everybody sleep that way during the lullaby time.
That is, I can see them really enjoying that, and then you don't have to take the scarves out again.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
That's a good thing. Scarves are great for creative discovery, especially the creativity that goes with music. Now, most of us music folks, we're auditory learners, you know, but there are people who really emphasize kinesthetic learning and kinesthetic intelligence. I wish I was one of them. I'm not. But it's good for all children and all people to develop that side of them. And part of that is also creative aspects of it. And this is an opportunity for them to hear a song and really come up with their own movements and explore how they want to move.
Right. They get some free time and they can, you know, and if I see a child kind of going like this, I'll come up and say, oh, I like that move. That's nice. You know, can I join you? Or
And there's, I like that move is a wonderful example of non-evaluative praise.
Exactly. And then a lot of times, you know, as I'm departing, they'll say, thanks for dancing with me. And then I'll move on to another child.
Appreciation.
Yeah.
All the movement, all the experimentation, the creativity, of course, the excitement, the cleaning up, the putting things away, all part of this wonderful prop.
That's right. One thing I want to also say for balls, scarves, or instruments, if you choose your own songs, typically these activities go anywhere from like 3 to 3.5 minutes. If you happen to have a 4.5 minute song or a 5 minute song, feel free to not do the whole song, unless everybody's really enjoying it. But 5 minutes can get pretty long for an activity like this where it's free exploration. So a lot of times what I do, I've developed the skills, which I'll talk about in the other sections, of using my remote control or the volume on your stereo, and I'll roll the volume off early and fade it out and then kind of do a ta-da as I'm kind of like doing the final pressing stop.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like, you don't want to just stop it kind of harsh because that's a little abrupt and you don't want to be tied to doing a whole 5 minute song.
These activities tend to be short and powerful. Like they're not the type of, it doesn't benefit it to go on and on because they tend to be really exciting, but then you want to kind of close it in. So I like 2 minutes to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You know? Cool. Why don't we move on to instruments?
Let's do it.
This is the big hurrah. This is the end of class, except for your lullaby and your goodbye song. You kind of want to, you know, in performances or anything, you kind of build the excitement like that, and then this is the biggest peak, right?
Big climax before it kind of tapers down at the end.
The lullaby, and that is intentional because you don't send the children home hyped
right.
up. Like
you don't want the kids to be super pumped up and then have that be their very last thing, and then their parents have to deal with the wild, crazy child.
Bring them up, calm them down. Instruments are fantastic for discovery, exploration of rhythm, community creativity.
And just, you know, a quick definition of instruments. I'm sure most of you might know if you've studied other sections, but it's basically just a collection of random percussion instruments. I'm not going to bring it all out because I have so many of them here, but well, I'll bring a few out. You know, I have these types of shakers. We already talked about the wrist bells. I have little drums. You know, I happen to have this from an old bongo. These little smaller drums, and we have various drumsticks that the kids can use with these. It's just an assortment, and it's the variety that makes it the most fun because kids get to really explore different things, and it's exciting every time because they usually tend to get a different percussion instrument. So that's what instruments are, and you just dump them out in the middle of the floor, and everybody just has fun while you play the music, and you get to go around and bond with the kids again, once again.
Now, you can play a song that you love,
Mm-hmm.
and you can choose an amazing song. This is a time for a teacher's choice. If you play an instrument, this is a great time to jam out with the kids. I like to play the guitar and harmonica, and that has become kind of one of the special things for me in class, is that final jam where we all play together.
Mm-hmm. And once again, bonding is a big thing. You can go to each child, and parents get to interact with their children. It's a great opportunity to win the kids over, because if you offer them a nice fun shaker, they're like, "Ooh, I like you," things like that. Other benefits, once again, we talked about the exploration, but the children are getting motor development. They're learning how to manipulate and grasp different instruments and work with them. And as they get older, they learn how to actually use them and actually make a steady beat with them. And as they get even older, they'll keep the beat that everyone else is keeping, and they'll actually stay in time with the music. And they're learning different sounds, different timbres, because different drums have different sounds, shakers have different sounds, and it's just a real good exploration for them of different sounds and shapes and music. Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Was there something else I was going to say?
I think that's good.
I think that's good.
Generally, you want the parents to help clean up after the words, because it just takes the children a little too long to get the instruments away. It
tends to.
Unlike the other instruments, which you don't need as much assistance with.
Oh, I was going to say, in terms of instruments and really any props you use, but especially with instruments, when you put them out, you can do your shake the box thing to make it fun if you like, but don't just put them in one spot on the floor, because then you end up with like the whole class just competing for that 1 2-foot square center. I try to kind of spread them out so that you don't have a big pileup of kids right in the middle.
And encourage them to try different things, and encourage them to walk around the room. Encourage them to go and play with other children.
Sometimes I have kids who spontaneously just start a parade. They'll just, some of the 3, maybe 4-year-olds will just, hey, it's parade time. And they'll start walking around with their mom around the perimeter of the class. And so I'll join in with them, and we get a little, about half the class is walking around and half of them are on the floor. And that's really fun, too.
I like that. I've never had a parade.
Yeah. Oh, you got to have a parade.
I'm going to have
sometime.
a parade. That sounds fun. Anything else about instruments?
I don't think so.
Okay, we're starting to get to the end of this long video.
Oh wait, even though we started the segue, I do have one last thing to say. There's no rule here, but I tend to do the same song for instruments about 3 or 4 classes in a row, and then I'll move on to another one, just with the idea that whatever tempo and beat that particular song has, I like to give them a few classes to try to see if they can practice playing to that beat before I switch to another song, like maybe week 5 or week 6, just something I tend to do.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Lullaby. Definition. A lullaby is a song that is sung while the class pretends to take a nap together.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a light source from a window, then it is fun to turn the lights out.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
It's a nice way to end the class. And boy, let me tell you, if you skip it, the kids will let you know. They love it. We have beautiful lullabies on the CD.
Mm-hmm.
We encourage you to sing them. You can sing them a cappella. You can put the CD on, but I like to sing them a cappella.
It's nice a cappella.
So you're singing a lullaby to the class.
Yeah, sometimes I play guitar for the lullabies. And then, it's nice to get the parents singing along, but a lot of times they won't, and that's okay. Like, they're just focused on cuddling with their children. I always like to say the words, let's all cuddle with our children, because one thing we really develop in our classes, we have big fun and we have a lot of education, but love and happiness and bonding is a big part of what we're doing.
And we want those parents loving on their children.
Right, so by encouraging, lullaby is a great time to emphasize, let's all cuddle with our children, and it just creates a nice loving atmosphere at the end, and it leaves people with a good feeling. I mean, they already had a fun feeling, but now they take all that fun and it comes down to a loving feeling, which is a really nice way to end a class and a birthday party or a performance. You want to, the more people feel love, the more they want to come back to your class. And if you have tryout students, they're more likely they are to sign up. And so you can really milk this one for like the loving qualities that it has. Mm-hmm.
These lullabies, the hope is that the parents will sing them at home to their children.
Mm-hmm.
They'll learn them, and it will become part of their daily routine. The children are learning melody. We tend to have lullabies from all over the world, so it's very multicultural. So many benefits.
That's right. Well, let's see. So Era talks about bonding, and then by rest. Oh, another benefit we have here is by resting and listening, they can focus on the melody of the music. So that's kind of nice. So there's really no activity here. There's no beat. There's no nothing. They're just listening.
Wow, that's really our only just listening time, isn't it? That's pretty cool.
That's just something nice about like lying down and cuddling with someone you love, like your parents, and you're taking in the music in a different way. Everything else in class has been very active, and this way you're kind of letting the emotions wash through you. You're just feeling the song, and you're kind of almost entering that dream space, which is, most of us. I mean, I know when I listen to music for personal pleasure, I just love getting into that zone where I feel the music, and you're giving the kids an opportunity to do that.
Nice.
Now, of course, a fun thing. Well, we already talked about you could use scarves to make beds for this. That's an option. I only do that like maybe 10 to 20%
It's a special
of the time.
treat.
Special treat.
Yeah.
But at the end of a lullaby, I always pretend to fall asleep. So lullaby.
So now the kids are going to want to come up and wake up Mr. Michael.
That's
this is a big, fun thing.
It really is.
Here's the key. Don't wake up when the first child touches you. Because then the other children will feel like they didn't get a chance to wake you up.
Of course, that depends.
You may not have more than one.
Yeah, when you have a new class, you might not have anybody come up to you. So you might be like sitting here, like if you were playing guitar, you just do this, or if you're actually lying on the ground, you sit here, snore, and then you might say, "Who can wake me up?" And that way, the parents, if no child does, the parents will get the children to. That's if it's a brand new class. Once you get regulars come in, or it's in the middle of a session, you'll have one or several kids just clamoring to get to you first, and that's what you're talking about.
Protect your head. They love to do that. And I've actually had children come back. When I've skipped a lullaby, I'm running late. I've had children after class want to talk to me about that. I did not do the lullaby.
That's right. That's right. And after the lullaby is the perfect time. You turn the lights back on. And of course, once again, we mentioned the window. If you have a room with no windows or no alternative light sources, I wouldn't turn out the lights because then it'll be pitch black, and that's dangerous and scary. But most rooms, rooms with windows usually are more enjoyable to be in. But after you turn the lights back on, after the lullaby is a great time for announcements because everyone's calmed down again. And I say, let's all gather back in a circle together.
Time for appreciation. Look at the people next to you and say thank you for being here. Time to build community. Time to make your announcements. This is a golden moment.
That's right.
Tell them about the benefits of re-enrollment. Let them know anything that's coming up.
If you tell them you're available for birthday parties on weekends, if they want to hire you for a birthday party, it's a great source of extra money.
Tell them how much you appreciated them being there.
That's really good. Tell them if they have any friends who would like to come, they can come try a free class. Just RSVP with you first.
If you're going to try and do something special on different classes, like maybe you're going to bring a hand drum in or a special instrument, let them know why the next class is going to be awesome.
All right, next week I'm going to bring my harmonica or something like that. And then don't forget your harmonica.
Of all the things we just talked about, though, I think the point you made about asking them to bring their friends in for a free demonstration may be key. This is how classes build.
That's right. I found that most of my students have come from word of mouth, and I'm finding that it's very true that the more students you have, the more you get because there's more word of mouth. So I found last session I had 60 students, and I'm at 99 right now because I'm teaching it over the summer.
Now you're just showing off.
I know, I am showing off. But now that I've got so many, I'm finding that every day I've got a tryout student or more, and it's really great. Anyway, that's going off on a tangent.
You'll make a video about that.
That's right.
Okay.
But for the announcements, that's a great time to get people to do that.
Yes.
And I think that's it. Then followed by your goodbye song, and then big hugs all around.
So your props and your activities is what your classes are made of. Originally we had hoped to have nice, neat little categories, but we couldn't do it. There's so much overlap. But the thing is, every day, every time you come into class, you're doing a sequence of activities, some of which use props, some of which don't. You'll see a consistent pattern every class and variation in every class.
That's right, and it's across every CD too. So once you've learned the music for one CD for your very first session, you'll find the second session gets easier because even though you're learning new songs, you already have gotten a lot of the activities and props under your belt. You're kind of more familiar with them,
Right.
and it just gets easier and easier to learn new songs.
New songs, because you know the activities.
Exactly.
And when Mike and I design the CDs for you, we have the activities in mind. We're like, okay, we need an egg song, we need a stick song, we need a stand-up song. So this is a big part of the design of the curriculum of CDs and the curriculum.
Yeah. All right, I think that covers our discussion of props, and happy teaching.
Happy teaching.